Let's start today with a current event. I want to tell you about what's happening between Google and Uber. Now, we are not in our intellectual property section yet. That's coming up in the second half of this class. But we have a current event that is really, really interesting. So, self-driving cars, we've talked about them a little bit in ethics, and they are on their way. The future is coming, and Google is one of the leaders in self-driving cars. They've had a project for quite a few years, testing software and hardware and their own cars in California, and actually selling a small car that can be driven in the San Francisco area. Uber also is naturally interested in self-driving cars because they imagine a world where there are self-driving taxis, and they even had they bought a semi-truck company, and they had the first self-driven semi-truck delivering something across the country a few months ago. So lots of action happening, and these tech companies are right in the sweet spot. Now, what happened is, and what happens regularly in Silicon Valley, is that there are people who develop deep expertise in an area, and these companies go back and forth stealing each other's employees for the highest price. And so there was one of the leaders of the Google program, which is the Google self-driving car, is called Waymo. So the Google Waymo program, one of their lead engineers decided to leave and go to Uber. He was hired by Uber. And what he did is he allegedly plugged in an external hard drive and downloaded 14,000 documents that have a lot of Google's technical information. Google's just, amassing a massive collection of data and how their robotic cars see the world and react, and the algorithms, and Google's algorithms are really where they make their money and where what's important to them. So allegedly, this employee stole this information and went over to Uber and helped Uber advance its self-driving car program very rapidly. So what's going on here? Who's at risk? Well, certainly the employee who took these documents is at risk. Now, one of the lessons here is don't do this. Don't plug in a zip drive or an external hard drive and take documents with you. As an employee, you're probably going to be signing an agreement that says that's your employer's work product. You don't have any rights to it, and so as much as you might want to take that with you, don't take it with you. We deal with this at Bedford, where we have people leave for various reasons, and we want to know and make sure that they don't walk away with technical drawings, customer information, things that would be valuable in the industry. And so there are tools out there that all companies, especially companies like Google, have installed that track when people plug in external hard drives and zip drives, and it gets your system administrators get an automatic notification about that. So certainly there are potential criminal charges against this employee for theft. Now, this could happen where perhaps Uber didn't know about the theft and they thought that this individual had a wealth of knowledge. They may or may not be responsible there, but in general, the employer is responsible for knowing, making sure that the employee is not bringing that information over. So you can hire, and that you're hiring some of the the best candidates, the best minds at another company, that you're getting that expertise, but you can't acquire, you can't have them bring along their confidential information, their confidential work products. So this is a tricky spot for employers, that you're hiring people for their expertise, but yet you don't want them, you don't want to be at risk for deliberately having taken and used that employee's expertise. So as an employee, you typically have a duty of confidentiality, where there is information that you learn in the course of business that is confidential to that employer, to your employer, and it is your duty to keep that a secret even after you leave. Yeah, you might have worked on it. It might have been something that you created, but it is still your former employer's trade secret information. So we'll see how this case unfolds in the news. It'll be interesting. Right now it's all allegations, but this is a really fascinating and a very gray area of the law, because you have to discover a lot of information to prove that that information that was taken, what was trade secret, what wasn't common knowledge, and that this information was stolen. So we'll keep an eye on it.